Okay, guys. Today I want to share with you some outcomes of a meeting I just had at Wake County, North Carolina, with the officials of the Wake County Board of Education school system. Basically, what you have now, old school is Brown v. Board of Education, separate but equal is unequal. Under COVID, this is an interesting phenomenon here in North Carolina. Private schools, a lot of them kept on going, regardless of the COVID outbreak. And so a lot of students didn't miss a beat. When you're talking about like schools like Fletcher Academy and so forth, they just kept on going. So what you end up happening is that today's meeting is an interesting meeting because what you have now also is a new system under COVID. Okay, COVID, which was presented today, means old school was instruction, right? Then with instruction, you got homework. Homework reinforces what you learn, right? But now, homework, and then you also had assessments in terms of quizzes and so forth, right? Today's meeting was interesting because this model, traditional model, has been substituted with other things. For example, now teachers can just miss class, go MIA without any problem. Even while I was having the meeting, one of my family members' teachers disappeared. Didn't show up for class. No excuse, no notice posted. Now, that was interesting. This is all in Wake County, by the way, North Carolina. Now, part of the meeting is that it was interesting because homework was now described as the assessment tool to go ahead and assess where students are at. Now, in the new school environment, COVID environment, is this homework is sometimes done by parents, right? Sometimes students don't do their homework. What they do is that they have things like Google, Alexa, other people, friends, and what they end up happening is that you have other resources that they tie in. Like, for example, one family member uses Xbox to go ahead and get a hold of friends, and they go ahead and do the homework. Friends not around here. Friends are across the state. And, so students are now, homework is now becomes an assessment, but officials said today during the meeting that assessments are now by homework, even to show that the student knows how to do and have learned material. It's crazy because homework actually is just measuring how a student can use resources. Let's say this clearly. Homework now is just how students use resources. And when testing was asked for during the meeting today, they said no. Nope, no testing. Even though it was highlighted that if you do a quiz, students are cheating actively. That means that they are using phones and other resources during tests. Nice, right? This is acceptable apparently in this whole new COVID environment, and it was the staunch reality that the officials stuck with their story. Said, no, sir. Our new model says homework is our assessment tool, even though homework is really, from my perspective anyway, it's just measuring how good students use their resources. And it's interesting because some assessments are essential to know where a student is at. So a student can be behind academics. They could be behind and get further behind, and you won't know it because no true assessments. No true assessments equals students possibly being far behind. So by the time we come out of this COVID environment, schools are reopening, you might have kids that are so far behind that they will not be able to function once they return to school because they've gotten used to the whole home environment where they get to access everything and do everything via their friends and other resources. Getting back to this MIA issue, oh my gosh! Finally, it was told us during this meeting that hey, look, subs are now being trained to go ahead and be there for teachers. I don't know about you, but subs and teachers have been a concept since the inception of the school, I think. And so for now, let's see, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, about 6 or 7 months into COVID, in Wake County, they're finally training subs. So right now, teachers can just be out. And so instruction time, getting back to instruction time. What is instruction time? Okay. Instruction time is when two things occur. Presentation by teachers of new material or old material, presentation, and you have exchange by students to question, analyze, and digest information. And that exchange with students during instruction time is essential because sometimes students bring up questions that are phenomenal in helping other students process what's being taught. However, instruction time is now also being presented as, hey, look, we can sub it. If they do their homework, that can sub in for some instruction time. I don't know about you, but one thing when you follow dollars is this: feds and other government entities pay you on what you teach. Okay, you're supposed to teach something. You get paid by how much you teach. So if this is gone, okay, and you could be MIA and there's no consequences, there's a big problem. So the students are not getting their instruction time. Teachers are MIA on a regular, and like I said, even during this meeting today, one teacher from one school was out. Period. Family member came back and said, look, even while y'all were talking, dude, my teacher was gone. And don't know what happened to that teacher. So now this is another thing is this here. I had one family member here, missed a class, technical difficulties. Difficulty. Had difficulty. Missed class, right? So, informed teacher, right? Here's what's interesting with one school in particular and one teacher in particular. Teacher within 24 hours sat with the student and provided instruction of what student missed due to technical difficulties. Student had come in within the last 10 minutes of the classroom. Technical difficulties was unexpected, but the student immediately reached out to the teacher. Teacher goes ahead and provides the student with the instruction after hours too. Interesting. So, interesting concept is this: is that you have that going on, but you have also other things going on. You have the syndrome of the hands-on student only. What are some hands-on students only? Typically, you have special populations that are hands-on developmental delays, MRs, LDs, special ed, and physical disabilities, and people with behavior issues, etc. There's a whole host of special populations, behavior, emotional disorders. So you have those require hands-on teaching. Now, you can't have a parent home trying to take care of a developmentally delayed who won't sit down to learn, or ADD child, or ADHD child. They can't. The parent cannot. There's specialized training and education that goes on for these types of specialized techniques for these special populations. That's aside from those students, for example, who are so far behind that they need hands-on to get up to speed. So what ends up happening is that this new environment, you're expecting the parent, as one other video, to be that specialized person. Can't happen. And that other video that I'm talking about was recently made, so hopefully you need to go back and get that one. But today's meeting, what was asked, one student missed 2 weeks worth, weeks, not weeks, 2 weeks worth of material, and was asked by school to go ahead and provide 2 weeks of instruction. Guess what was happened? Request denied. 2 weeks of instruction denied. Very interesting. So if a child misses school, misses instruction, they could go on and on and on without ever making up that material. Now, what's interesting is the new system is that parents can be part of the classroom environment, whatever. I understand that confidentiality. I tell you the truth, I don't want to be a part of classroom experience because this new way of learning is interesting. I don't like it. But what end up happening is that teachers have the capability of making videos, instructional videos, right? So you can make instructional videos, right? You could even play the video during class and pause it, stop, ask students questions, and have things go like that. You have teacher making an instructional video. This video would be then available if you miss class. You just go back and look at the video, right? You would think. Or what I asked is, well, do you record class, and can recorded classes be accessed by students? Recorded classes, and they said no. Confidentiality. We can't record class, and we can't have it available to students who miss instruction. But we don't have teachers making instructional videos that are available after class. And we don't have instructional videos being played during class time to go ahead and have pauses where students can ask questions and digest the material and then analyze and so forth. I would think the better way to do things is have teachers with the lesson plan, with the videos, with the resources already posted in syllabus form. Okay, and then be a supplement to that in terms of your instructional time then becomes a review time of the videos that are presenting the new material. And it ends up where the kids, if they don't really understand, they could go back and see that video anytime. But that wasn't well received today. No, it wasn't. One other thing that you need to know is with this new environment in Wake County anyway, you have a big problem with teachers using resources that are questionable, links to unsecure websites. This has been a problem for me because my antivirus, firewalls, routers all flag it. Unsecure sites are flagged like crazy. I had a one computer pass. It's called a DMZ zone or a hole in the firewall. Point one computer past that one, and it had to lower the virus, the blocking firewall to such a low point that just about anything can get through, because teachers and educators are using websites that are really not kosher. What's interesting also is that when they were talking about today during the meeting with public schools officials again, it was funny because they said our media person can sub, right? But if there's so many teachers that are out, how could one media person sub for an entire school? And if I'm not mistaken, subs often are specially trained or certified in subjects. For example, I was a New York City teacher. Two areas I have a sociology degree, Puerto Rican Studies, PRS, which indicates a fluency in Spanish, and I have political science. My area of substitute certification was Spanish, ESL, and social studies. Now, I'm just wondering, with the media center person, what, does she have specialized training to have different teach? Because it was so told today, media center can teach anything. Media can present any subject. I'm like, wow, awesome. Not awesome at all. I don't believe that. I don't believe the credibility of that. And I'm knocking out decades of work of knowledge base and certification processes and training. Substitutes can't do everything. Sorry, dude. I just don't. So part of the thing that happened today also is this: is that when you're talking about special populations and specialized services, what end up happening, PCP, person-centered plan, is that in North Carolina there was a system called person-centered planning, and that was the big thing way back 10 years ago. All right, where you utilize the person and their goals, and learning styles and needs, right? You talk to the person, you set up objectives, and you meet with the person, and you set all these things up. Now, with special populations, though, this is not going on in the special environment in Wake County public school system. What I mean is, they, especially the older kids, I mean, generally younger kids, you might want to use more parental guidance to identify needs and team environment to identify needs. But when they're older, you're supposed to work with them, invite them to specialized meetings, and develop goals and so forth. When you don't, I hated this when it happened to me. It happened as an adult and as a child. What ends up happening is when you have a disability, in people's mind, immediately equates not capable of understanding, advocating, talking, addressing oneself and needs. So people would often talk to others around me before they talk to me. What does he want? Well, I tell you the truth. At a certain age, you can ask someone, what do you want and what do you need and how we're going to get there, and can we work together to do that. During this meeting, it was quite painfully obvious that PCP mindset, that um, implementing that with special education and other services doesn't exist. I asked about what do you do with a parent who's got a developmentally delayed child who works online, even out of the country, and can't work because of the fact that they have to go ahead and chase around this child all day long, who can't sit still. Do you have that person in an environment, teaching environment, and make special arrangements? One of the schools that came up today in terms of talking and information sharing was Fletcher School Academy, whatever you want to call it. It's a special ed type environment for ADD type people and special education. Now, they haven't missed a beat, haven't missed a school day since COVID started. So how is it that you allow Wake County Public School System to close its doors, wherein in the same county, private educational entities are still functioning? I don't understand it. I don't understand it at all. Now we get to the bottom lines of all this. What are the bottom lines? Separate but equal. Separate but equal is norm. Because separate but equal means if you got money, you will get your education. Whereas public schools that don't have money can be in limbo. This, I would think, is suitable. Because if you're laying in private schools, keep on going, haven't missed a day during COVID, but you have the public school system closed, you got a big problem. Now, what end up happening is that you need to go ahead to, even if you have to, worst case scenario is minimize how many students. You're going to have to prioritize ties by need. If you're going to reopen the schools partially or limited basis, first do by needs first. And I would think the DEDs, the MRs, the physical disabilities would be first, and your BEDs and your behavior emotional disabled, disturbed, whatever. All those particular population would go first, and the people who are so far behind in class, like 4 or 5 grade levels that they need intensive services, I would think you would let them go in first. And then you have the other population, the quote-unquote normal population, are those older students and who are able to go ahead and navigate computers and the internet and so forth. But you still can't do away with assessments and learning, because if you open back up, you might find students who are grade levels behind because they cheated. And you open the door for it. You open the door. I talked today with some officials, and I said, hey, look, you're going to have to devise a way wherein you take and have these kids take tests, and they're under the gun in terms of being observed and so forth. Proctors, even if you got to mail a camera to the home and say, hey, look, you're about to take a test, and we need you to be recorded by someone else so we can see you taking the test and making sure that you're not doing anything. So proctoring needs to take a different level. A whole lot of things need to change, but you can't totally undo the school system. So basically what you have is this. I'm horrified as a parent. I don't want to be a part of these classroom environments, because I even said today,
I've come through the room when my children are in school, and I see some of the, and hear some of the stuff that goes on in these classrooms, and I think it's criminal. I think it's criminal also to get a paycheck and just selectively decide to show up for class as a teacher. And I'm sorry, this whole we take attendance by an attendance form that can be filled out towards the end of the instructional day. Like if I come in as a student in 5 minutes, I know my class is from, let's say, 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock. I come in at 1:50 just to do the attendance assessment, and I leave. Well, then you need to keep a track of exactly when a student appeared in your class, how much instruction time that student got, and make sure that student gets the instruction time they need. Even for technical difficulties, again, we have a family member who had missed due to technical difficulties. Our teacher went immediately and provided that stuff. And so when I asked about another family member doing that for who missed 2 weeks worth of stuff, oh no, it can't happen. So it's the undoing of the system. It's having education, no education basically for if you're poor and you're in the public school system, you're not having it. If you're in a private school environment, you got it and you've never missed a day. You never miss a day. So basically what is government officials, legislators, whoever you want to, but that the buck stops there. Dude, I don't understand how you're receiving federal funds at all and not even have a basic thing as instruction time that you stick with. And not calling assessments homework. Dude, these kids are smart often in terms of being able to access resources and get stuff done even though they don't have a clue of what they're talking about. And I know family members who have done that where they don't have a clue of what the subject matter is, but they can find an answer. And the thing is, one thing that was interesting, he said, we just look for the answer key because these teachers are getting stuff off online. Oftentimes when they get it off online, we can find the curriculum that the school system puts out that has the instruction stuff and the answers to it. So we just basically get the answer key, take our test, and we're done. Smart students. Does that mean that they learn what x plus y is when it equals to 7? They don't know what x plus y equals to 7 means because they just asked the computer or got it off the internet. So when there's no assessments and so forth, especially with special populations, you got a big issue, big problem. That was the subject matter of the meeting today. And it was disenfranchising disheartening rather, because it's just crazy when you see what's going on in today's environment. And these are specialized people and higher up people who talk like this, who said basically, hey, look, our homeworks are our assessment. Even though I just got through telling you that family members can go on Xbox and get their friends to do their homework, can Google it. So it's like, it's just, you don't get it. And is that not plausible to you? Is not that reasonable that stuff like that happens? Reasonable personal standard? Yeah. Is it negligence on your part in terms of not providing education? Big time. Big time. Is it going against federal policy? Big time. Big time. Is it going back customary practices, norms in our society? Big time. Teachers MIA again during this meeting. One teacher was MIA again. We just talked about it. And it's just crazy. This is it. I would need to articulate this stuff because it's bothering me. And for a family member today, we were able to get more hands-on help. But something that we have been asking for March, April, May, June. For those months, we've been asking for specialized assistance for someone. Finally got it today, but and not everything because, again, you have private school systems haven't missed a day. Their kids are getting education. You can afford it. You got it. You got what you pay for. Whereas public school systems are still closed, doing some jacked up online learning. Jacked up, and I say that also because this whole, oh my gosh, I can't believe 20 minutes oftentimes in the beginning of classes, they talk about their feelings. And then they close another 10 minutes at the end of the classroom. I said, how much instruction time are you dedicating really to these students? I don't know. And it's a new world. It frustrates me. I don't want to be around it when my kids are in school. Online in the house, I don't want to be around it because if I hear it, see it, and know it's going to bother me so that I'm going to react. And if I don't hear it, don't see it, I'm better off. And actually, it might be better off for you guys if I don't hear it and see it. It's just like one student. When I volunteered in the school system, they put an ESL student in front of a computer to take an assessment test. The kid had no computer experience and was not literal enough to know what was going on the screen, because most of it was in English, and then the parts that were in Spanish were written in a fashion that she didn't know how to navigate. Stuff like that is that when I was a case manager, mental health case manager, also the same thing. Advocate in New York, also the same thing. Where the majority of my time was spent getting services for people who were left to a corner. If you were Hispanic, came in the school system, you wouldn't learn nothing. You would be sitting or standing in the corner, and educators would just, oh well, just keep them. They're not performing. Retain them in another grade, even though in their country they were superb students, A/B students. When they came here, this immersion didn't work, full immersion, because they didn't provide the school system to provide a way of transitioning over to English. Stuff like that is just what I've encountered. And even a person, me as a person with disability, you can't talk to someone standing next to me about me and make my goals and plans, or it's just engaging person-centered planning. It was the legal standard in this state. I don't understand how it's changed in this state, but that's what happens when you don't hire diversity. You don't have people with disabilities working in the school system. You don't have a lot of male figures. Today's meeting was all females. Females. That's it. Females. All right. Subject matter, a male. Females, all females, and none, from my understanding, was Hispanic. So, who knows what this is all about and what the conclusion is. All I know is racial politics, economics politics, as usual. Hope this helps. My 2 cents. Sorry.